Welcome to Filmosophy, a quaint little podcast where three people get together and have a trifecta orgy on a movie that one of them has picked. I am today's host, Lance, today with my permanent guest host and editor, Cody.
Hello.
And residential co-host living in Jacksonville, Florida, Owen.
Yo, represent Duval.
Oh, man. So, real time pulling the curtain back for everybody. We are recording this the day after Christmas. It will be released way after that. We just hope you had a good holiday season. Shout out to Young Kazzy, who's our most loyal listener other than Alex right now, because Sarah's fallen off. So we got two of them. So if anybody has been consistently listening to us, all my movie choices over the last year have been the Friday the 13th movies. And praise the maker, we made through all 12 of them. And then I thought to myself, you know, it'd be a great idea. Let's do all the Halloween movies. And then once we got past the 12th movie, I was like, you know, I need a break. So let me pick something I can talk consistently about and not get bored of and just have fun with. And it's a good thing because there's not much research I could do for this movie. I decided to do two anime movies, which dive deep into me and Cody's fandom, and Owen has little to no experience with this franchise. We're covering two Dragon Ball movies. So today's episode and my next episode will be the next movie. Today's episode, we're covering Dragon Ball Z Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan. Probably the most popular non-canon character in all of Dragon Ball, and I would definitely say he was probably top 10, like in general. But yeah, so we're going to talk about that. I'm going to try to give a little bit of details I do have before we get into it, because there's not much that I can just generally look up on the Wikipedia page for production-wise. So first and foremost, Owen, sir.
Yeah.
This was your first ever sit down and watch anything Dragon Ball Z front start to finish, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you have a buddy who's a huge Dragon Ball Z fan that you have, I guess, an extension of knowledge through?
Yeah, a little bit. I've picked up here and there.
Okay. This is going to be very interesting. You're the reason why I picked these two movies. So, Cody, when were you first introduced into Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball in general?
It would have been, God, maybe I was maybe 6 or 7. It would have been whenever Dragon Ball Z was like brought to Toonami in the afternoons on Cartoon Network.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So I don't know exactly like what saga it was. I know it was early enough to where it was either the Saiyan saga or the I don't know what you would call it. It's not really the Frieza saga or whatever. It's like when they first get to Namek, maybe.
Oh, the Namek, the Namek sagas. I think it was the general, just what fans call it.
Yeah, like the in between like the Saiyan saga and like Frieza showing up on Namek or whatever. So it could have been somewhere in there. But yeah, as far as like my general fandom of Dragon Ball goes, I've watched every episode of Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, Super, Daima. I am a super dork about it and get on like the wiki quite a bit and just like dive into like backstories and stuff of different characters. I have some knowledge of like this Dragon Ball Super manga beyond what the show covered. Um, so yeah, and I've seen a lot. I haven't seen all of the movies, but I've seen a lot of the movies, and I have not seen the live action movie that's supposed to be like really dog shit.
It's not bad. It's not good, man. It's not. I went to the theater to see that with Squidward, and I remember like thinking, "What the fuck is this, dude?" Uh, yeah, it was pretty bad. Okay, interesting. Now I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, you watched this Broly movie for the first time like 6, 7 years ago, 6, 7.
No,
Because I
no.
brought up.
This Broly movie, I saw when I was a kid.
Oh, you did. Okay,
The
okay.
first one, yeah. Now the other two that we're not going to be covering, the Bio Broly movie and whatever the other one
Uh,
is.
it's
Um,
Broly's second coming, and then Bio Broly.
oh yeah, he's coming. All right, he be coming. Um, but those I know with Bio Broly for sure was several years ago, and I can't remember if I had seen the second coming when I was a kid or not. But this one for sure I had seen a bunch when I was a kid.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess I'll get into my introduction to Dragon Ball Z. So, man, a lot of these people may not know what the hell I'm talking about. So here in Tennessee, we had local stations that were part of the television package. So if you didn't have cable, you would have like ABC, which is Channel 2, Channel 4, NBC, Channel 5, CBS, probably Channel 8, which was PBS. Um, Fox was on Channel 7, even though it was 17.
Hmm.
And then they had a UPN 30, and they had I guess a WB 58, and later on down the road, UPN and WB combined, so it's CW 58, and the channel
Yeah,
still exists. I think the channel still exists, and then my TV got 30.
if I remember
Um,
correctly, UPN 30 was on 14, and WB
okay,
58 was on 18. And then they
okay,
combined, yeah, like you said, they combined into the CW, which was still channel 18 later on down the road. And channel 14 basically became the all day sermon channel.
okay, hell yeah. So now this is gonna get kind of in the weeds for everybody. I hope you just come along for the ride here. Dragon Ball Z famously has two different dubs. And when we dub, Dragon Ball Z is a Japanese anime, so Japanese animation, and it originated over there. It was a long concurrent thing from like the mid '80s to like '96. This show ran from like Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z to Dragon Ball GT. Like it did not take a break. It was on the air for 10 years every week. So when we got it in like small chunks that were dubbed. So from what I understand, um, Funimation is the company that owns it, or that owns the English dub that does all the American business for most of the Japanese anime. They were going to adapt through an English dub Dragon Ball first. And that proved to be kind of disastrous. People were bored with it. It just didn't last long. So they did with Dragon Ball Z first. So they contracted a group out of Canada called the Ocean Studios, and those are the original voices that we heard for Dragon Ball Z. Vegeta sounds way different. Goku sounds different. Like all the characters are different. So there's a character in the Frieza saga named Zarbon, and he's a pretty boy character with long hair. I liked him because he had an awesome, like badass Australian accent when I first heard him, and then when they redubbed it later on, he has a very feminine voice. I'm like, what the hell is this? This is not even the same dude. But they did from the very first episode of Dragon Ball Z all the way up to the episode that Goku's about to show up on Namek. They dubbed all of that through Ocean. Well, I think money got tight, so Funimation just started doing their dubs in house. Because I remember watching it on Toonami, because they had two different blocks of Dragon Ball Z. They had it after school, about I want to say 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. was an hour block, 2 episodes, and then they had episodes at the Toonami after dark where they would just play. I don't know if it was a few episodes ahead or maybe it was the episodes from the day before. Um, so I remember watching that, and the voices changed dramatically. The next episode, when Goku shows up on Namek, I'm like, "What the fuck is this, dude?" But so you got the different dubs. On UPN 30 in the morning before I went to school, they would play Dragon Ball Z, and this is famously the Rock the Dragon. Rock the Dragon. Cody, I think I'm going to get that song for you to put on the beginning of both these episodes because fuck it, why not? The Rock the Dragon, which is the Ocean dub. The intro of that, what they edited up, is literally like the first three movies, which were Dead Zone, The World's Strongest, and Tree of Might highlights, plus a couple shots of Nappa, which is really weird. And then when you see the characters, because they always have a character screen where everybody is just like standing there for the camera. Goku turns Super Saiyan. There's future Trunks there. Like they show you all the characters you're gonna see down the road, but you never like we never got to that part because on the UPN 30 they would play up to that episode where they had right before Goku shows up, right before the next dub starts, and they would literally start it over. Because I remember I was like actually watching it, recording some episodes that I had missed, and then when I got to that, it just started over again. I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is crazy. Um, so that's a whole thing. It's a little bit of a mess, like the broadcast history. But Dragon Ball Z, along with Sailor Moon, were probably the gateway animes to America. That's it's blown up into this thing. So it's a godfather of anime here in the West. Um, but yeah, so and I mean it's really the only one I'm going to watch. I've got all the Dragon Ball Z on Blu-ray. I've got a few of the movies on Blu-ray. If I'm going to watch it, I'm going to watch them. I'm not going to watch Dragon Ball. Probably not going to watch Super or watch like Daima. I might watch Daima.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I think a lot of fans, just to dive into that a little bit more, a lot of fans differentiate. I think most people you talk to here probably are going to say that Dragon Ball Z is their favorite just because it's a little bit more
Nostalgic.
action focused. To yeah, I mean nostalgic because that's kind of what we were first introduced to. I believe they aired Dragon Ball later on down the road.
Yes.
Um,
It was
but
already dubbed by Funimation at that point.
yeah, but Dragon Ball Z is like more action focused. Yeah, there are a bunch of filler episodes, but still, like generally, you think of like the showdowns with Frieza and Cell and Majin Buu and the androids and all this sort of thing. Whereas Dragon Ball is more, um, it takes a lot more of its inspiration from Journey to the West, and it's more of a every episode is like a different part of the adventure where they're like traveling to go find the Dragon Balls. So you don't have like these big overarching story arcs really like you do with Dragon Ball Z, and they pretty much kept that later throughout the other series later on, like Super does it. Uh, but yeah, so there are differences. Like GT is kind of more of a blend, I think, of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Super, I think, tries to tap more into Dragon Ball Z. I would say more like Dragon Ball Z Kai, really, where it doesn't have any filler episodes. It's just all like this is like what the manga was basically doing.
Hmm.
And then Daima goes back to the whole like this is more like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball GT sort of style.
Yeah. So, what would you say, Cody, that you prefer? Because I prefer Dragon Ball Z, the fights and all that. I love all that like character stuff.
Yeah, I've said it for a very long time. GT has always been my favorite. Um, and that's not to take away from. I like all of them for different reasons, but GT has always been my favorite because, like I said, it is a blend of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Really, like those two kind of storytelling styles. And I just find like Super Saiyan 4 is my favorite form that they've ever
Yeah.
done, and it to me it's just an enjoyable watch. I know a lot of fans don't like it because they consider it to be non-canon because Toriyama he didn't write it. It wasn't based on any of the mangas, even though he did do character design for it. And I don't know if he did any kind of like overall like this is just like kind of the premise of the story, but I know he did some character design for it.
I think he came up with the name, and
Mm-hmm.
he definitely came up with a design for Super Saiyan 4. Like he drew it, They have
Yeah.
animators at Toei Animation when they were drawing up the episodes and animating it that just copied
Hmm.
his design. But yeah,
Yeah.
he definitely designed it, and I've had my problems with Toriyama. I think in sprinkled throughout our podcast where I've mentioned it. He's kind of like to me, and this is kind of harsh. He's like the Japanese George Lucas to me because he's always forgetting his own shit. So when he comes up with a new story, he'll just come up with a different reason that we know than what he has already established. So it's just like
Yeah.
retconning everything. I like something that's more. That's what turned me off the Super, um, because when they brought Dragon Ball Z back, or at the time it was Dragon Ball Z um, Battle of the Gods, which was the first movie. I think that came out, I want to say 2011, 2012, maybe 2013. Um, that movie, I mean, I was fun. I liked it. And then they had Return or Resurrection F, Return of Frieza, which is the biggest villain in Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
But when they did Super, they literally just turned those two movies into like a 12 episode season. And I'm like, I'm not
Yeah.
watching 12 episodes because it's a fucking movie.
Well, here's the thing. I think what they did is that was Dragon Ball Super the manga not already going, and then they were like, well, let's just do movies based on these story arcs and not do an entire series. But
No, I think he started writing the manga after because he wrote those two movies. Like he wrote
yeah,
both those movies, and then he wrote the manga.
okay, so
So it's kind
maybe
of like an ass backwards thing.
gotcha. So yeah, I guess that would explain why they did it for the show then, because it's like, well, we're basing this on the manga. One thing that kills me about the anime though is like I wish that they would come back and be like, okay, we're gonna pick up Super where we left off, because they stopped where they stopped because they had caught up to where the manga was, and they're like, well, we don't want to do what we did with Dragon Ball Z, where we're just putting in a bunch of filler episodes to just to fill time. Um, we're gonna just end it here. But now we're already. I mean, there's several arcs further with Dragon Ball Super, and I would love to see like, you know, Ultra Ego Vegeta and Frieza Black and all this stuff. But I just don't know if they're ever gonna do it.
Ah, it feels like Dragon Ball has definitely lost momentum with when it comes to like bringing that kind of stuff back. I just thought they should have just continued on with movies, but you make more money off of TV
Well,
contracts
then
by
there's
making it
another
anime.
issue there too. Like for me personally, like Dragon Ball Super superhero, uh, I really don't like the art style of. I think
Okay,
it looks really
like a Dragon,
bad.
like a PlayStation 2 video capture.
It honestly does. It kind of does look like I can't remember what was it. Was it Sagas that had like the heavy outlines
Hmm.
on the characters in the game, but like it does look there's an old like PS2 era Dragon Ball game that it does really look like that has that
Yeah,
similar art
I
style to
I
it.
think I mean they Broly was so beautiful, like the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. Like it
Yeah.
looks phenomenal. And I'm okay with the changing of the art style. I prefer the Dragon Ball Z art style. I'm okay with it. But when I watched clips or saw like a trailer of that Dragon Ball superhero, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
Like,
it's also the characterizations in it are just really weird. Like Piccolo acts in a way that I don't think I've ever seen Piccolo act, and it's just watching this like this doesn't even feel like the same character. Um,
yeah.
it's
And
really odd.
they just he wanted to take a movie off that, focus on Gohan, give Gohan a new form since he's given Vegeta a new form and Goku a new form, and then wanted to give Piccolo a new form, like Orange Piccolo. Like, what the fuck is that?
Don't get me wrong, the Beast Gohan or whatever, super cool. Like I like that form and all that. It's just the movie that it's packaged in. Just I don't think is that good.
I agree with you. So real quick, so if anybody's noticed, Owen hasn't talked a lot. Like I said, this is Owen's first foray into Dragon Ball Z. Like I said, he's seen clips. I think he's told me. I remember off the top of my head, he's told me that his friend showed him the Super Saiyan 3 transformation for the first time and said, "Look how stupid this is." And I thought it was badass. Um,
Is that the one where he
but
loses his eyebrows?
Yeah.
yeah, he loses his eyebrows with the longer hair.
Yeah.
So, so you have a thing. So real quick, I'll do a bird's eye glance of the history of the story. So this story kind of mimics a Superman story. Goku is an alien child, which we don't realize he's an alien at first. He's a kid. If you just watch Dragon Ball first, he is a kid with a tail. Then you find out later on that he's actually an alien. He was sent to this planet to destroy this planet because he belongs to a race of warriors called the Saiyans. They all have tails because when they look up at the full moon, they can turn into these great giant apes that destroy planets. They destroy planets to sell them to the highest bidder. And then each saga introduces a stronger villain that wasn't known before. So that's the kind of thing what Dragon Ball kind of fell into. Like you just had to escalate everything. Um, so you see the first Saiyan that comes in Dragon Ball Z is his Raditz, which is Goku's brother. Takes him about 3 episodes, he gets beat. Well, then you find out there's two Saiyans way stronger than him that are coming. It takes them a year though. That's a good like 20 to some multiple episodes. Goku has to train for a year, comes back, fights, and beats him. Then you find out the Saiyans have a boss named Frieza, who's another alien, and Goku has to turn Super Saiyan at some point to defeat Frieza. Well, after Frieza, there's the androids. And then after the androids, there's a thing called Cell, and then after Cell, there's a thing called Majin Buu, and then that's the end of Dragon Ball Z.
Much
So everything
boo.
just kind of escalates. Everybody takes a characteristic of the person that came before them and makes it something else. So Cell is a creature that can regenerate absolutely anything, unless like the core of his being has been destroyed and he can't regenerate. Everything's been destroyed. Well, Majin Buu can regenerate anything; it doesn't matter. So everything's just kind of like escalation for Dragon Ball Z. So the Dragon Ball Z movies, there's 13 of them. They are non-canon because the creator of Dragon Ball Z, the manga, is Akira Toriyama. And Toei Animation is the company that animated all of the manga into the show. They put in filler. Now, they like Cody mentioned Dragon Ball Z Kai. If anybody's absolutely curious at all about that, is most of the filler they put into Dragon Ball Z has been cut. And they did say it was like more uncut, but in reality it wasn't because they were playing on Nicktoons. It's more streamlined. You can watch it. It cuts out close to 100 episodes. The reason why Dragon Ball Z had so much filler was because they were literally waiting on Toriyama to finish the manga chapter so they could animate it. So they would spread things out and add things into it while waiting to get his core of the story. So it wasn't like they were just doing it just to do it. So Toei Animation put together their story team are the ones that put the stories together for the Dragon Ball Z movies, and they're considered non-canon because Akira Toriyama has nothing to do with them other than character designs. He'll come up with something like a design, and then they take off with it. The guy, and I was repeating it and listening to this clip over and over, trying to get it straight in my head. The guy who's the head of the movies was Takao Koyama. Now, Koyama is the one that created these movies. These movies all they take something from the time period they're coming out with. So when Goku was fighting Frieza, they had two movies come out, and Goku's fighting a villain called Cooler, who's Frieza's older brother. And then while they're fighting the androids 16, 17, and 18, they have a movie come out where they're fighting androids 13, 14, and 15. And then after Android 17, so that's movie 7, they come up with really an original villain at this point, um, Broly. So they wanted to come up with like this kind of evil Saiyan. Koyama came up with all of his characteristics and all that. Now Toriyama did design Broly. He did design Broly's base form, his legendary Super Saiyan form. You see that he looks like the Ultimate Warrior in, and all that. So he designed it. He didn't have anything to do with the story at this point. Um, so going back to what we were talking about with the bird's eye view of the story. Frieza is this like white and purple alien that destroyed the Saiyans' planet Vegeta. Now, if you heard me say Vegeta, Vegeta is the name of the planet. It's the name of the king of the planet and name of the prince of the planet. And Prince Vegeta is the one we see throughout the whole series. He's the one that's in this movie.
Wait, so he actually had a planet before this? So there really was a planet Vegeta? What the fuck?
Yes.
Is that where all the...
Yes.
Wait, so he's the prince of all Saiyans, right? Is that where they all come from?
Yeah,
or
the
some
Prince
shit?
of all Saiyans.
Yes.
Ugh.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah, if
want
you
to
have any
give you my
questions on this, I
power.
try to describe it. Just ask it. But it's funny. So these movies add things onto it. So there's a TV movie that's probably canon at the time, but I guess it's kind of got overridden by the the Super Broly movie. Was Bardock the father of Goku? And Toriyama designed Bardock. He's the father of Kakarot, which is Goku's Saiyan name. He comes up with he gets a superpower by this race of people that he destroyed while he's getting this planet ready to sell, that he can see his own demise coming. He can see the future. So this whole movie, Bardock is haunted by his future, and then he ends up facing off with Frieza. Tries to throw a firebomb at Frieza, one of his energy beams, and Frieza's death ball he creates when he destroys the planet. In this movie, Owen, you see the planet destroyed. You see this big ball going to it. So that's Frieza's death ball. So Bardock throws the beam at it, and then he ends up getting into into the beam as it's going down the planet, ends up dying. So that's what you see in the anime. So Dragon Ball Z movie 5, which is Cooler's Revenge. Cooler is off in the distance watching Planet Vegeta get destroyed, and he sees Goku's spaceship get flown off and doesn't do anything about it. Says Frieza should clean up his own mess because they have a brother rivalry going on. So while all that's going on in this movie, Broly has his energy beam come around his dad and him, and he gets off the planet too. So all this stuff is just getting added on to this one central event, which is Frieza destroying Planet Vegeta, the planet of the Saiyans. And Frieza thought there was only 3 Saiyans that survived, which was Vegeta, Nappa, Raditz. Well, Goku is Raditz's little brother. He was sent off the planet. And then they add more Saiyans, which is not really, I guess, a big deal like I thought it was, because like Star Wars has added on multiple Jedi's after Order 66, like in shows between the prequels and the original trilogy that end up getting killed off too. But I guess I get into the story. Is there any questions you got for us, Owen, for the lore?
Where do they keep their tails? In their ass?
They don't have their tails anymore.
They don't. So, like
Wait,
when they did have
Cody?
it, they wrapped it around their waist like a belt.
Okay. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
but Vegeta's was cut off during the Saiyan saga, which again is the introductory kind of saga of Dragon Ball Z.
Goku's was cut off after he killed his granddaddy.
They circumcised me.
Well, is that no? That's not right, because Goku has his doesn't Goku have his tail in Dragon Ball?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dragon Ball. Yeah, he did. But
But
he
his
accidentally his tail grew back. It got cut off because he grew up one time
He's a
into it and they
lizard.
cut it off. But I remember, okay, so I got it confused. I remember hearing, it's like, oh, my grandpa got killed by a giant beast, and he realized he killed his grandpa.
Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, because he still had his tail when he meets Bulma, and I think at the beginning of Dragon Ball, Grandpa Gohan is already dead.
Yeah, he shows up one time for a tournament, don't he? Like from the afterlife, just to tell Goku he's okay and all that.
I can't remember. And Gohan had a tail too, didn't he?
He did, yeah, but he doesn't have it here. By the
No,
time
no,
he
no.
gets to the teenage,
Yeah, because
What?
I remember him he turns into an Uzaru.
and
during
multiple
the Saiyan
times he
saga.
does.
Yeah,
He does it. So during the Saiyan saga, there's a movie called Tree of Might, and there's another Saiyan that comes up. His name is Turles. So this was the first foray into them giving us what an evil Goku would look like, because he looks just like Goku but just a little bigger.
Mhm.
Turles was supposed to represent what if Goku didn't hit his head and lose all of his memory when he got to Earth. This is what Goku would have been like. And then they've done it a couple times since then. Like there's a character called Captain Ginyu in the Frieza saga that can switch bodies. So he goes in Goku's body, so Goku looks evil. Later on in Super, there's a Denzin
Goku,
or
Goku Black.
yeah, Goku Black, which is a godlike character that switches bodies with Goku, and he's evil because he wanted the Super Saiyan power. Um, so yeah, they've toyed with this like evil Goku thing a couple times because I guess it's a storyline they just like to keep going back to instead of doing original shit. Um, so Broly, like I said, he was an original character. Really wasn't anything, and this will Cody might find this interesting. There wasn't really anything that was based off of him, but one look that came up with. Now, Cody, do you remember in the Cell saga where it was Cell's second form, the imperfect Cell, not imperfect Cell, semi-perfect Cell, which is stupid.
He looks the
Where,
best, dude.
yeah, we're
He holds up the best.
and Vegeta fights Cell at Ascended Super Saiyan, but it's Super Saiyan level 2. Not Super Saiyan 2, but where Vegeta gets bulked up and everything, right? So, after Vegeta allows Cell to absorb Android 18 to turn into Perfect Cell, and he gets his ass kicked, Trunks goes a level further, so it's like, fans call it Ultra Super Saiyan, but it's Super Saiyan level 3. And Trunks has no pupils, his hair gets really fucking spiky, and his muscles get really fucking big. That look for Trunks Ultra Super Saiyan, which came out in like on the anime like October 1992, because I saw that in a video today. All my information that's not coming off the top of my head, people, I got from a video from a channel called Geekdom 101. He's a big anime fan, especially Dragon Ball. So I follow his video. He did a couple Broly videos that I watched to get the information. Now, I have found 2 more videos that will tie into the next movie because they make comparisons between both versions of Broly. Um, so, hold on, let me take a sip. I'm losing saliva.
So while Lance takes a sip, Owen in the Discord, in the chat and Discord, I dropped a picture of
That's
Vegeta
my
when he had a
tail.
tail and how he like keeps it, like how it's wrapped around his waist or whatever.
I wrap this tail around my waist the same way I wrap my foreskin around my dick. Ugh. Who is that over there in the corner? Is that fucking Gohan?
That's Gohan
Okay.
when he's a kid.
Why is so I have another question. Why is Vegeta still wearing like the same fucking like isn't that like his invader fucking armor or whatever?
So he doesn't. So that it's the Saiyan armor, but there's variations of it. So that armor in the picture that I sent is the one that he has when he first comes to Earth.
Yeah.
The one in this movie, if I remember right, it's not. It doesn't have like the big, like I don't know what those are, the hip guards and the crotch guard hanging down.
Yeah.
It's more like cut off at the waist. And I don't remember if the movie had the big shoulder pads either. At one
Yeah,
point
they
they
took
have
that
it looks
out.
more like a vest.
Yeah, that's kind of what it
Then-
looked like in this movie. I like this
Yeah,
design
okay.
a lot. I always liked it because I guess this is early Vegeta. I know he changes.
Yeah, it's funny if you look at the first time that Vegeta ever actually shows up, it's him and Nappa on like a different planet, and he's wearing like a maroon. His armor is like maroon and green or something like
And
that.
his hair is reddish brown too.
Yeah, it's really weird. And then like the next time you see him, he looks like this, where he's it's the white and like yellow
And Cody,
or tan armor.
do you
Yeah,
do you know why he looks like that, Cody?
no, I'm sure people have probably tried to justify it being like, oh, this is just the lighting from the planet or whatever, make it
Well,
look that way.
I mean,
but
they fixed his coloring on Dragon Ball Z Kai for that episode, but it was an error by Toei Animation because the manga's black and white, but Vegeta's color scheme wasn't specified to them, so they just kind of filled in the color themselves. And then Toriyama goes, "Oh no, he's supposed to be
gotcha.
wearing blue
Yeah,
jumpsuit that," so it just kind of
in pretty much every like video game, Dragon Ball video game since, that has like alternate color ways or whatever for your characters. Vegeta typically has like an alternate colorway that makes him look the
Yeah.
original
Yeah.
way.
I like
So
how his
these
head.
smaller details,
Sorry,
these
sorry.
smaller details of the armor. So when the Saiyans first show up, Raditz, Nappa, and Vegeta, they have different colors, but they have, like Cody was saying, they have thigh plates, a crotch plate, armor that goes around their whole torso, and these big shoulder pads. Well, behind their armor, it's just kind of clear. What I mean by that, because the second generation of armor that we see later on, there's like a square design on the back of their thing. It's a whole thing. I can send you images of it. That's not gonna be too boring. So the armor changes. The armor Vegeta's wearing right now, his wife Bulma studied his Saiyan armor that he had and actually created that for him because that's what he prefers to wear. And that's another thing I don't really like about Super, how they make Vegeta go back to wearing the armor when by the Buu saga in Dragon Ball Z, he was comfortable just wearing the jumpsuit without the armor. You know?
Yeah, but I think the jumpsuit just looks too plain visually, right? Like 'cause he's just wearing like
So
this dark blue skin suit.
yeah. So I sent you guys two images in the group chat. This is the Trunks form that drew inspiration for Broly. You guys look at that right quick.
Yeah. Okay.
So that monstrous look where he had no pupils and he was going berserk is what inspired Koyama for a Saiyan like movie, and then Toriyama, I guess, took the design from that because that's what Koyama wanted. And like Koyama, they commissioned him to design it and stuff like that. So he did design Broly and stuff. So I'm trying to think what else I can get into because the plot is going to sound.
It's very simple.
It's a very simple plot.
Pegasus
So
comes
you
to Earth.
Paragus, not Pegasus. Uh,
Gesundheit.
The
so
mythical horse with wings, Pegasus, comes to Earth.
yeah, that's totally what it is. Um, so the whole thing comes around. So if you watch Dragon Ball Z, you'll see similar characteristics to everybody. Like Chi Chi's wanting to get Gohan in a good school. Gohan is Goku's son. Chi Chi is Goku's wife. Goku is told by a character he met in the afterlife when he died one time, because you can die and come back in Dragon Ball. King Kai, that though there's a legendary Super Saiyan destroying galaxies. So Goku's trying to search for this character. He's just missing him every stop he goes. While Cody was joking, there was a Saiyan named Paragus who comes to Earth to get Vegeta, saying, "I've made a planet Vegeta for you." And it's a ploy because Paragus and Broly were killed and thrown out in the garbage to waste away by King Vegeta, Vegeta's father. The problem is, when Broly was born, he was born with a high power level of 10,000, and that's like the power level of like King Vegeta at the time. So, he thought he was going to be a danger to the Saiyans, and so he decided to kill him. Paragus was trying to save his son's life. Paragus gets killed by Vegeta. That same day, Frieza destroys Planet Vegeta. While Planet Vegeta is about to be destroyed, Broly wakes back up because he has this like undeniable like destructive power, and it like resurrects himself somehow because gets stabbed with a sword, and his dad's holding on to him. I don't think necessarily he's saving his dad. His dad's just holding on to him, and they fly away. So Paragus has been planning for 30 years to get revenge on Prince Vegeta for what his father did. So you meet Broly. He's a 7 foot tall, like they call him. He's like a beanpole. Like that motherfucker's still pretty fucking muscular in his
That's
base form.
that's one of the things that's funny to me is like he's like the same size as like everybody else, and they're like, "There's no way he could have done it. He's like scrawny."
Now,
Look at this
now,
wimp.
now, Owen, if you're interested, I'm gonna send you the Dragon Ball Team 4 Star fan dub of this movie, and it's hilarious. And there's a joke where Vegeta comes up to him and goes, "Who's this scrawny looking puke?" And Broly goes, "I'm a foot and a half taller than you, but whatever." He goes, "What was that? I can't hear you from up there." He goes, "I said I can't hear you from down there." And it's just, it's really good. Like they make fun of the whole Broly thing. That his story is kind of stupid.
Yeah, it's very
But
stupid.
I disagree. I 100% disagree.
Broly
I
hates
think.
Kakarot because he cried a lot when they were newborn babies. Like it's
Well,
like,
here's the thing. So when we've talked about this because we were at a football game, you were doing the Kakarot thing. Broly does that as he transforms. When he's fully transformed, he's 100% just a sadistic fucking villain that talks normally.
yeah.
Like he is more berserk in Super movie than he is in this movie.
I see, like my memory of this movie was that basically when he became like, as he got more powered up, he became more and more just like a Neanderthal. But
You were completely
I was
wrong.
wrong. I was wrong. But the backstory is still extremely stupid. That
No, so
he hates Goku because they were born on the same day and they were in like the infirmary or whatever, and Goku cried a lot. Like it's so dumb.
it is dumb, but they're fucking babies. Like you sit there and you think like, what you're. I just farted and it stinks. Uh, I'm like, what? Oh, I look. I'm like, oh Jesus, that's bad.
Let your own
So
little spirit bomb out.
yeah, I did. Yeah, I don't know if you remember Cody in early Dragon Ball Z, Yamcha, who's another character who had his own spirit bomb, but he could kind of control it. Do you remember that?
hmm Yeah, it's like
Okay.
he would like kind of like point his fingers around and it would like zip around. It was almost like the size of what maybe a little bit
Like a
smaller than a
globe?
basketball or something.
Yeah. So I was thinking, like, what if your farts were like how Yamcha could control it? You're just like, you just start controlling it where it's going. But so Broly is like, Kakarot keeps crying, and that is a consistent thing throughout the anime and the Bardock TV movie. And anytime you see Kakarot as a baby, he cries a lot. So they add it, and so Broly's this powerful kid, and then it does something to his psyche. But when he's not around Goku, he's just a fucking sadistic killer. Like he is like pure evil. Like he's
Yeah,
completely badass in that. So if you everybody gets hung up on the Kakarot part that lasts for maybe 10 minutes, and then once he turns into Super Saiyan, he's like completely fucking sadistic. Like probably more evil than like most of the characters outside of Cell and Boo. Uh, like that shit just kind of goes away. The next movie, Broly's Second Coming, he's just Kakarot, because his mind is completely shattered at that point. Because he thinks I mean, he's the most powerful being in the universe, and he plays with his food, so he didn't destroy anybody. But so he does have that moment where he sees Kakarot and says Kakarot. And the cool thing is, since his dad has a control device around his forehead that looks like a jewel, and when he turns into Super Saiyan, it's almost like a restricted form because it's almost like his own Super Saiyan blue because it's a greenish
yeah,
blue color. At night, it's kind of like that one scene at night. It looks almost like a black purple, which was pretty cool. But once in the next movie, once he doesn't have that headband on anymore, he can turn into a natural Super Saiyan. Like it's just his it's his form. I think that device. It's never been said. I think that device is what's kind of warping his power it given a more restrained Super Saiyan thing. But so you have your like silly anime stuff where Master Roshi does a lot of stuff. He's been drinking a lot and having his own little side quest of like trying to get off the planet. Um, and this is the longest of all the movies too, by the way. So it's like an hour and like 5-6 minutes. It's longer than any of the other movies. Most of the movies are like 45 to 50 minutes long. So they kind of put like some resources into this one. And I didn't go into this. So I found this out too. So the first movie, which we know is Dead Zone, came out in 1989 in Japan. So the whole goal was for them was to have a two movies come out every year for Dragon Ball Z while Dragon Ball Z was going. One during spring break and one during summer break, so the kids would come out to see it. And really, all the Dragon Ball Z movies had a slightly higher budget than the cartoon, and it was almost as kind of like an infomercial to like make sure you watch the show type of deal. This is what you're
yeah.
missing out
Dead.
on.
I want to say Dead Zone may have been the first one I remember seeing. The first
Yeah,
Dragon Ball movie I remember seeing. That's the one with Garlic Jr. in it, right?
Yes. Now, did you see it with the original voices or with the Funimation voices?
It was probably the Funimation voices. I don't really have any distinct memory of seeing the Ocean dub. So
Okay. Well, if you because go like Piccolo has more almost like a snakish type voice when he's talking. It's like all of his S's kind of stand off. It sounds cool. I'm not like criticizing it. It's just funny
Kakarot.
because it's just funny when I see like that, and then we went to the Funimation dub. Well, like there's just like 40 episodes they didn't cover, but halfway through the Frieza saga, the rest of the English speaking world got a ocean dub of it. So they have the same voice actors for the most part from those original episodes. So hearing that evil Vegeta do the Majin Vegeta stuff when I'd like look up clips is fucking wild to me, just ultimately. Um, so you go through this, you see like Broly, like to me, there's two moments in Dragon Ball Z that I can watch. It gives me goosebumps. One is Majin Vegeta right when he's about to do his sacrifice and blow up. I think this is the coolest fucking thing. And I mean the Dragon Ball Z version, not the Dragon Ball Z Kai version. And then Broly transforming to fucking Pantera. And that happens in this fucking movie. And I think it's just fucking sick. I don't, Owen, so as somebody who doesn't watch anime, what do you think about the transformation scene from Broly?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty cool. You have the Pantera song playing, so it makes it feel pretty badass. Um, there's a lot of really cool parts, like when the first face-off between Goku and Broly, and then Goku does this little like goofy like shit where he hears Master Roshi, and then they get back, then they lock back in.
Yeah.
What do
Well,
you think about the fact that some hard rock music started playing while Master Roshi was sucking on Oolong's feet?
I love it. Made me horny. That happened.
It makes it made him horny. Yeah, it's the scene where Goku, they're all sleeping and Broly goes in to attack Goku.
Yeah.
And Master Roshi's he's talking to Oolong's feet and he goes, "Hey, pretty lady,
Oh
what's your
yeah,
sign?"
yeah.
It just made it like really funny to me because like you just got like this guitar riff starting. I was like and like it's like Master Roshi just all over these fucking little feet.
So
It's
that's
like,
the
ugh,
pigs.
God.
That's the pig character's name. Oolong.
Oolong. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. I don't know if
So
they say it in
here's
the
the
movie.
so the score. We'll get into the score more in a little bit because other movies have done this too. But yeah, so Owen, like, so what is your like opinion of like Broly? Like, I know the backstory is kind of goofy,
Yeah.
but everything else, I think everything else makes up for it and it's just completely badass. What is, like, from the outside, this is what I really want to get to. From the outside, what do you think of the movie
Yeah,
and Broly's, like, characterization?
I really like his design. Like he looks really cool. With his like little robe, like pants thing going on, and his like fucking, even his one little earring that he has, it looks pretty cool, and his hair. Um, like even his transformation's pretty sick. I like how his hair turns green. Um, I guess that's something to do with like him being the legendary Super Saiyan. Um, but yeah, it looks really cool. I've seen pictures of the remake one, and like he looks okay. I kind of like how they like, but I don't like his color scheme as much. Like it's a little too green, whereas like the original, there's a lot more going on. It seems like.
Yeah. So we'll get into that. So like me and Cody would prefer, like, if he suggested one of them, he would say watch the Super one. I would say watch the Z one because he's evil. Like I get enough of the Dragon Ball Z characters where they're bad at first and then they turn good. It happened with Piccolo, happened with Vegeta, even happened with Mr. Buu, used to be Majin Buu. And it's like I just want an evil fucking character, and this dude's like, there's no redeeming about him. He kills his own father and just
I
just laughs and shit like that.
Yeah, I guess I just find it a little bit more. There are pretty stark differences. Like it's been a while since I've seen the Super Broly movie or whatever, but this one, like Broly, like you said, he's pure evil, and he, like, for the most of the movie, he's kind of just like a monster being caged, right, with this like
Mm-hmm.
device that his dad is using on him. Whereas in the Super version, he's more he's more of like he comes off more like I understand what I can be and what I'm capable of, and I've got to like I'm like fighting to control it. Again, I may be
No, no,
misremembering
yeah,
that.
no. His dad has a device around his neck in the second movie too.
Oh, okay. So I didn't even I couldn't even remember that part. So yeah, well, obviously it'll be the next movie we cover. So I'll get a refresher then. So
Yeah.
sorry, any fellow Dragon Ball fans, for the misinformation.
So like Owen from the outside, so like Broly's story, like obviously the backstory where he's crying and shit's kind of silly.
Yeah.
Do you think his actions, like as soon as he transforms and he's not doing the Kakarot shit anymore, do you think from like the last 20 minutes of that fucking movie just completely makes up for it, or do you think like oh it's a silly thing I can't get past it?
I mean, it didn't bother me to begin with, but I don't have any kind of like I don't have any guide marker to like how goofy Dragon Ball. Like in my opinion, Dragon Ball is like generally goofy, like typically. So like it doesn't
Uh,
strike me as something that's like out of the ordinary.
yeah, it definitely it bounces back and forth. I mean, it definitely has like its silly moments, and then it has like its super serious moments. I mean, a lot like a lot of popular anime series do. You know, I think
Yeah.
like Naruto is a lot like that too, where
Yeah, yeah.
Naruto can be super like just goofy and off the wall, and then there are moments where it's like, no, you got to like knuckle down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of shonen manga is like that. This like Dragon Ball, One Piece and shit. A lot of it's like that. So, but I mean,
So
yeah, it didn't bother me or anything, no,
okay.
to begin
So
with.
the thing with me, so I did forget to mention the first time I forgot to ask Cody this too. So the first time I had ever watched this movie, somebody actually had a Japanese VHS tape, so it was imported, and it had Super 13 movie, which is movie 7, and this Broly movie on movie 8. So when I originally watched this movie, I watched the Japanese dub with the English subtitles on it. And I never forget. I just remember the VHS cover being kind of like faded or almost like pinkish purple. It was a weird color. I just remember like watching it. Cody, you said you watched this the first time. Was it on Toonami, or did you get like the VHS tape of it?
Um, I want to say it was probably on TV.
Okay,
I think I did eventually get the VHS of it, but I think the first time was more than likely on TV.
yeah. So for me, so I like you mentioned the movies, the first three movies were always playing on TV because they had the original dub, the ocean dub on them. So I always saw those. So like movie 4 is another Namekian character called Lord Slug that comes out. Now that one introduced a lot of the new metal music they started playing. It has a Disturbed, Drowning Pool, and all that shit on there. Movie 5, which is the cooler movie, has the same thing. It has Disturbed, Drowning Pool. A lot of the music I was listening to at the time is pretty fucking awesome, and it introduced me to some other bands that I hadn't uh, realized either. So this movie, I don't remember this VHS tape coming out so early, but I remember buying it at Walmart when I saw it. Was this Broly movie? It came out in 2003 here in the states before they put it on Toonami, and they put a lot of like fucking like it's a lot of metal music from the Texas scene. So there's a band. So I listened to this one song from the band because of this movie. Let me see here. They're called Slow Roosevelt, and the song was called Silverback. Now, there's another band on here called Haiji's Kitchen, and they have Day After Day, and then the Lost song. That's the song that is playing when Goku kills Broly at the end. And then obviously Pantera Tens is playing when Broly's transforming. So they have like quite a few like bands I'd never heard of. Obviously, I heard of Pantera, but I listen to quite a few of these songs now because of these movies. So the soundtrack's pretty badass. So to me, I will say this, coming from somebody who is over 300 pounds. I've always been over at least 250 most of my life. I'm 6 foot 2.5. I'm a bigger guy. So when I watch things, I like bigger characters. I'm not sitting there like, yeah, I want to watch Rey Mysterio Jr. beat up the Great Khali all the time or the Big Show. I don't want to see that. So my favorite wrestler I've talked about is the Ultimate Warrior growing up. big fucking dude, 6'2", 6'3", 275 pounds. To me, Broly got popular because he was such like a badass looking character, and then people will try to shit on Broly's character because it's like, oh, his motivations are really stupid. It's the same thing people like shitting on Boba Fett in Star Wars because people started liking him because he had a badass look. And Lucasfilm started putting out books that people wrote about him, so he had a cool story. And everybody goes, everybody just likes him because of his look. The books don't matter. And now they like the Mandalorian, or at least they did like the Mandalorian so much, which is really just Boba Fett with a baby Yoda put onto it. Like all of his cool shit they gave to the Mandalorian. And they're like, oh, this is so cool because it's official. That's everybody likes the Super Broly movie because Toriyama actually did something with it. And he literally just took all the cool shit from this and added on to like, oh yeah, Broly in the Super Broly, if you look at him, looks a lot like Yamcha, like his design. So it's like I mean, I like the Super movie. I prefer Z Broly because I mean, at least his characterization is okay. This and it's just one movie. Like this movie, like wasn't meant to go anywhere or be put into the story. It was just something fun. But I would prefer to watch this over rewatching like I don't know, most of the Baby Saga and GT. I would rather watch this versus watching most of the Majin Buu shit because it is so fucking long and all that. But so that's what my preference is for the Z. It's like this character's badass. He looks badass, and then he's like sadistic, which is cool shit. Because I mean, you have so many characters in Dragon Ball that Toriyama put in there. Like, oh, there's a lot of retribution in this character. I'm like, well, sometimes that kind of runs like it gets old. Some of the Toriyama shit he did, like he tried to revisit a lot of shit, and to me, it just got old. It's like that's why I don't want to watch Super. It's like we already had peak like Super Saiyan 4. He even doubled back and put Super Saiyan 4 into the canon for Dragon Ball Daima, and but that was only something that Goku could achieve in the Demon Realm. He can't do it anywhere else. And it's like what the fuck? And I don't even like the design of that Super Saiyan 4. But everybody's like, well, Toriyama made it, so it's canon. And I'm like, the canon of Dragon Ball Z is just ridiculous. And you have fans that are like super fucking loyal to what Toriyama does, and it
I
doesn't
don't. Let
matter.
me just to comment on the Super Saiyan 4 thing from Daima. I don't mind it. I don't think it's as good as the GT version,
No,
but
not at all.
like I don't. My big complaint with it is that they use red hair and like the fur is more like a pinkish red instead of like red. Like, well, Goku and Vegeta had different like tones of their fur whenever they were Super Saiyan
Yeah,
4,
well,
but
he has
um,
red hair. That's what Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta was supposed to have.
yeah, that's what Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta did have in GT. Um,
No, I know that's what he did, but that's what my biggest thing was like because Goku has black hair and Vegeta has black hair. Well, his
yeah,
fur in GT is kind of pinkish. Vegeta's fur is red, and then you get to Gogeta, his fur is completely brown with his hair is fucking red, which is sick. But it was
yeah,
just
and
it might just be the
like
animation style too.
the Go in Goku, I do. There's a slight feature change with the Daima version that I think is interesting. Again, I prefer the GT version, but his arms are also like larger, like his forearms and his hands are larger, like an actual ape, you know.
Yeah,
Um, so I think that element is neat. But yeah, I think there's just too much red going on with it.
yeah. I think it'd just been more interesting if you could have found a way to connect everything instead of just adding more stuff that really doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, because
Like there's
I mean, the canon is like, I think the canon's like all out of whack. To me, I guess I'm past the point of like really like caring too much about like, oh well, this is canon and this isn't because I've just heard for many years of GT. Oh, GT's not canon, but it's like for years that's all we had like as a sequel
yeah.
to Z. And GT did introduce a lot of like cool character like villains, and they brought back old characters and things like that. So and it's like, well, the Daima I guess is technically supposed to fit in between the end of Z and the beginning of Super, but then it's like that stuff is always kind of like confusing anyway because it's like, well, if he could turn Super Saiyan 4 in Daima, then why doesn't he ever do it in Super? And
Well, why are they
it
surprised with like the Super Saiyan God form, which is just red hair? Like they don't know what the hell that is. He only goes Super Saiyan 3. Like that's
Right.
when you make
Yeah.
something that's supposed to fit in between something. It's
Yeah.
like it gets too much in the weeds.
Yeah. I mean,
Toriyama
like,
just got the point. He just didn't care.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
for sure. I mean, technically, like, you could fit Super before GT, but then it's like, again, it's like, well, why wouldn't the Super Saiyan God stuff exist there? And it just, I guess, really, what you should, the way you could, the best way to look at it, canon wise, is just like, oh, there's just splitting timelines. Like, there's the timeline here that
Yeah.
goes toward Daima. There's the one that leads to Super, and there's the one that leads to GT. Like, because really, they can't interconnect very well together.
No. And this is for anybody out there that cares about continuity. Now, if you just watch something just to watch it, yeah, you'll just fucking love it. It doesn't matter. But if you like someone like when I fell in love with Dragon Ball Z, I really cared about the continuity, like where the story went, and so I was like always following it and didn't understand the difference between anime and manga. Like I didn't look too deep into it, and they kept mentioning manga. I'm like, what the fuck is manga? And it's just a Japanese comic book, and you read it right to left instead of left to right, like going through the pages, like front to back. No, you read it left to right, but you go front back to front. You're reading it backwards. It's really fucking weird. Uh, so yeah, there's that. So I guess to talk real quick when you guys, uh, so I'll ask Owen. Owen, what was your favorite part of the fight? And all the fights are kind of interchanged. Was there a part that stood out to you that's like, oh, that was pretty fucking sick, or something? I'm just curious.
I think my favorite part, really, honestly, was probably like if I can stray from the fight and say what my favorite part was really the characters interacting. Because again, I haven't really seen this, so I hadn't watched anything Dragon Ball related. So like, yeah, the fights were cool and all, but it was kind of funny how I like snappy dialogue and stuff like that, and I felt like the characters are very defined, and like
Mm.
uh, just how much personality they had was really fun to watch. But I mean, with regards to the fight, um, I like the first, where he wakes him when Broly wakes him up out of bed and whatever, and they start fighting, and then he licks his
Mm.
little lips and he goes, "Oh, what the fuck? That's
Oh yeah,
nasty."
because he's bleeding out of his mouth after he
Yeah,
gets kicked in the face. He licks the blood off.
he's
Yeah.
like, Ugh. He goes, Ugh. But yeah.
Nope. Did we? Okay. So let me ask you this. Um, so you like the characterization. Now Vegeta is kind of inconsistent in his characterization in this movie. Like, I guess he's supposed to be so shocked because of this legend that he heard growing up. That's why he's just like frozen in fear. But Vegeta's like so prideful. He's never fearful
Yeah.
in the Dragon Ball Z unless he's getting his ass kicked by Frieza in the right before Goku turns Super Saiyan part.
Mm.
And but that's the only inconsistent. Everybody else is pretty consistent where they at with the anime. Like for me, Vegeta is my favorite character in Dragon Ball Z. Um, but for me, I do like it when he tries to join the fight after Broly's just been kicking everybody's ass, and then Broly does like two things to him, and he's already done, and then Broly goes, "What? Finished already? You are all talking, no action." Um, I do like Broly's. I like the ending when Goku finally gets Vegeta's energy to beat Broly. That whole sequence there because I love the fucking song playing it.
Yeah.
Like when Broly starts transforming, when they get to that final part where he transforms into Legendary Super Saiyan, I just fucking love this part of the movie. It's like fucking awesome. Like the dude doing Broly's voice, Vic something. Let's see here. What's his name? I'm probably gonna mess it up. I was so worried about the Japanese names. I'm gonna mess up this dude's name. Vic Mignosia, Mignonia, Mignosia, or something like that. He's fucking awesome. He says it's like it's so fucking hard on his vocal cords when he does those performances, and shit like that. Um, so yeah. Cody, what was your favorite part of the movie, or favorite part of the fight, or whatever it was?
Uh, mm, I don't think I have a very like just a specific part that's like my favorite really. just because of how straightforward it is. I mean, I guess I do like the kind of like sneakiness of like the father like trying to control Broly and all that sort of thing, and um,
Mm.
how they have the little like craftsman or whatever that's the one that created it. He's like, "Oh my lord, I can't fix what is not broken."
Now
Um,
there was. I'll say this: when he looks like Emperor Palpatine, like a little rogue, and then when he gets shocked, you see the robe go off. He's just this fucking like squid looking creature, which is pretty cool. He's just walking on all eight legs.
yeah,
I like that design of that character a lot. I always thought it was kind of funny that Paragus was trying to get them to the planet because he thinks that the comet would destroy them instead of just letting Broly fuck them up. But I guess in reality, he wanted to preserve Earth and use that as his new base of operations because he says that in the movie. Um, so yeah, like I said, eh, I would say the boring parts of the movie are the beginning parts where Krillin's singing and shit. Like I know it's
La
funny,
la
but for
la.
me, it's just like the whole school shit with Goku and Chi Chi I find boring. Um,
Chi Chi.
but yeah,
He said, "Fuck you,
yeah,
Chi
that
Chi."
part's
so
kind of just silly.
but I did buy so I bought this Blu-ray I want to say about 5 6 years ago, and then I ended up buying two copies of this Blu-ray and sent one to Cody, one to Owen specifically because I wanted them to watch this movie for this podcast just with this what do you call the soundtrack that was in it because now when you watch Crunchyroll, if you watch this movie on the Crunchyroll streaming site, they have different music in there now. So and it also comes with like the Japanese dub, and the Japanese transformation with Broly's pretty cool. I'm just not a huge fan of the Japanese music. I get it; it's like what it was supposed to be looking like, was it's supposed to sound like. But we grew up, me and Cody grew up with the Bruce Falconer score, with a lot of like guitar and a lot of electronic music for Dragon Ball Z, and I mean, that was just the time we had when we grew up with it. It was just fucking awesome. So I prefer this type of music. Trying to think, was there anything else? Yeah, I think Broly's still sick. So Cody, has your opinion of this Broly movie it changed at all? Is it still the same? Because you looked at him like he was just the behemoth that had no personality, when in reality he
Um,
has more personality after he transforms now.
yeah, I think I like it more just after refreshing myself because, like I said, I did watch this several times as a kid. Don't get me wrong, I thought Broly was cool when I was a kid, but yeah, I think I like it more. But it's still not like if I want to go and watch one of the Dragon Ball movies, it's probably still not gonna be like one of my go tos really.
Which one would you be your go-to? So
Um,
excluding Super, like I
I
want to
don't.
know
Yeah,
what you like with Dragon Ball Z.
right. Yeah, the Dragon Ball Z ones. Cool. The first Cooler movie. Um,
Yeah,
and that was always my go-to as a kid. Like if I wanted to like just pop one in or whatever. Because I just
I
thought
listened.
Cooler was really neat, and I love like the fifth form that they gave him, which is
Yeah,
kind of disappointing they didn't use that for Frieza, but
dude, that Cooler movie. I listened to that entire soundtrack all the time. I just love it. They got Finger 11. They got Drowning Pool, Disturbed. They've got Breaking Point, which is the band that did RVD's WWE theme. They have like two songs on that, which are really good.
Hey, I'm gonna
Um,
put you guys on mute real quick. Y'all continue.
okay. Um, so Owen, this is your first ever Dragon Ball Z forte.
Yeah.
So if you watched this, would you, if you had the free time, not saying like right now, obviously, but if you were like younger and had more time to consume the franchise, would this have turned you on to watching the rest of Dragon Ball Z, or at least piqued your interest, or it was just good for one time, I'm done with it?
Yeah, I probably would. I'm even thinking about, I might watch something. I don't know. I haven't fully. I'm still debating now if I really want to go down the rabbit hole. But I mean, it has piqued my interest a little bit.
Okay, hell yeah, that's cool. I mean, if it was one of those that kind of like turned you off from, like you didn't want to fuck with it at all, like that would suck. Like I've got all Dragon Ball Z on like the Blu-ray collection.
Yeah.
Now, if you sign up for Crunchyroll, which is Funimation's streaming site, I don't know. Hopefully, they have the Dragon Ball Z Classic with the Falconer score that you can stream along with Dragon Ball Z Kai. I'll have to ask Cody because I think he has Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, if you get a chance, if you just like sign up for it, just like watch it. Like it would be awesome to it's not something to get like super sucked into, but it's awesome. Like, but like I remember, like so when I was talking, like when I got into it, a lot of my stuff was informed by fans that I went to school with Dragon Ball Z. They were telling me about all this shit because I hadn't watched this stuff yet. Like it was real popular at the time, like to print up images of the show and just kind of just look at them. Like I don't know, it was just a weird, like a different time growing up. Like I used to love looking through my Mortal Kombat instruction manuals because they had pictures in it and story bits that I would like to read and like put together in my own head. So I used to print off a bunch of Dragon Ball Z pictures, like because people at school would do that. I'd have my own little notebook and I'd just look through them. I don't know. I guess I should have been looking at Playboy or something, but I was looking at Dragon Ball Z shit. So, um,
You were
yeah,
rocking
but
the
I remember
dragon.
like this.
You should have
I
been
rocked the
rocking
dragon,
your other
dragon.
dragon.
Oh yeah, it's like, there's the mouth. Um, so yeah, interesting. I'm glad. So I'm just asking, would you recommend this movie for anybody that's never watched Dragon Ball Z to give it a shot? Or
I mean, I feel like there's probably better places to start than this, but
okay,
I mean, I guess that's my thing is I don't really know how much. I mean, it was an enjoyable enough watch, but I feel like part of what let me enjoy it was is the little bits and pieces that I already knew about Dragon Ball. Um,
mm.
I know about that Goku has like a wife and a son, and that Vegeta has a sexy Bulma that he fucks, and he has his son from the future, and the son is a baby. So like
Yeah,
there's shit.
like the whole
Yeah,
the whole Trunk stuff when he shows up in the series is fucking awesome. Future Trunks is one of the best characters in the show.
yeah.
He's awesome.
Father.
So this movie takes place if you would put it in the timeline while they're preparing to fight Cell for the final time. So they have this thing where they're going into called a hyperbolic time chamber, where they go in there for a day and they can train for a year. It's on Kami's Lookout, and so all this is going on right now. So that Dragon Ball uh, Team 4 Star, Dragon Ball Z Abridged Broly movie, when when they come up and tell Vegeta about the planet, and you show that scene where Vegeta's between the two trees, and the Trunk runs up to him. So the fan dub goes, "But father, what about Cell?" And Vegeta goes, "Fuck him." Like he's just gonna go to the planet and go like be a king somewhere. He goes, "Dad." He goes like, "I don't have time. I'm gonna be king."
Fuck him.
Like I'll send it to you. It's really good the way they did it. I think you'd enjoy it too. But do you just recommend this movie as just a watch anyway? I'm just curious.
Yeah, sure. I thought it was fun. It wasn't really that
Okay,
long, so it's not like you're not putting a whole lot.
you're wasting much
Yeah,
time.
you're not putting a whole lot on the line here. I feel like if you like anime,
Yeah.
you'll probably like this, especially if you like shonen anime. You'll probably like this. If you like your Naruto's, your Boruto's, or whatever the fuck.
You're so like for me, so I did see some some Sailor Moon, um, like growing up because that show was coming on before Dragon Ball Z when I got home from school. So I'd ride the bus. I'd go in my grandma's bedroom because she'd watch TV in the living room, and I'd turn on her TV just to watch the Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
And so Sailor Moon, Gundam Wing was another anime that was going on at the time that I watched. There's a lot of other Gundam shows now, or there were, but Gundam Wing was the one I saw. I think there's one, the Big O. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And there's another one that's actually a one shot. It's only like 12 episodes, and they never made anything else for it. It's called Outlaw Star. It's a pretty fun show to watch. But yeah, Dragon Ball Z is like the big one for me. So like this is probably one of the first things I remember watching of Dragon Ball Z that I can remember. Because everything else I just kind of remember the intro, the Rock Dragon Ball Z song. Um, but yeah, I definitely recommend the Dragon Ball Z Broly movie if you're just interested in watching something that's an hour and 5 minutes long. It's fun. It's got a lot of action in it, and I think Broly's a fucking awesome fucking character. Like he's he's high on aura, is what the kids would say
Yeah,
now.
as the kid is.
So the next movie that I'll be covering will be 2018's Dragon Ball Super, the Broly movie. So this movie, I don't think I really talked about like I should have. This Broly movie that we did today came out. It was released March 6th, 1993 in Japan, and it was released here in the States on like VHS in 2003. Um, it did. So I guess the box office it made 2.43 billion yen. So it made 21.7 million worldwide at the box office back in 1993. Um, and then, like I said, it is followed by two Broly movies that come after this. There's a break. There's a character called Bojack, who's like just a pirate, a space pirate character, and that came out, I guess, in the summertime in 1993. And then March 1994, Broly Second Coming came out. And then summertime 1994, Bio Broly came out. So, Owen, if you ever do get curious enough to watch the two Broly movies that are on this Blu-ray, let us know what you think on the show at some point. It'd be sweet. I don't know what you would think of him because in the second one he is very much like Kakarot. That's all he says. He says one line that's not Kakarot's name in the second. But yeah, so like Cody's characterization where he's like Kakarot and all that silly shit that people get hung up on is really the second movie. That's all Broly does in it when he comes back. And so, and that movie's still fun. I still like it. It has this band that's like only released like two albums. It's pretty much just their music, their soundtrack for it. So it's not great, but it's cool. Like I said, the whole Kakarot thing doesn't bother me. Team Four Star makes fun of Broly because he looks really cool and he's a really stupid character. I'm like, he's not really that stupid. Just that little part. I like the fucking like when he's a baby shit. I know like the motivation him getting mad at Goku is him crying and shit. It's kind of
You
stupid.
see their little
But I
penises.
like adding on to the King Vegeta right before Planet Vegeta blows up because there's so much going on in that event. Like Vegeta, after I guess he kills Paragus, he goes to confront Frieza. He gets killed. Then Bardock gets killed trying to stop Frieza, and then the planet blows up. Cooler's watching this. Broly flies off in another area. And it's just really cool, like that type of thing. So Cody, I was asking Owen. Um, so do you recommend this movie, Cody?
Yeah. I mean, you obviously you need to be into anime, but if you are, then yeah, I recommend it.
Okay. So let me ask you this too, because I was asking Owen. I mean, Owen made a point. It's like there's probably better areas to start up in. But if you were to watch this for like the first time and not know anything about Dragon Ball Z, would you be interested in going and watching the series after watching this movie for the first time? If this was your introduction to the show, I'm asking you, Cody.
Uh,
I know
that's
it's
a
kind of
good.
a difficult question.
Yeah, it's tough because Dragon Ball has just been one of those things that I've just kind of had in my life for the vast majority of it. I would say no. I think maybe to someone who doesn't have any knowledge of Dragon Ball, this might come off as just a little bit bland, um,
Mm-hmm.
and it might come off as a little bit confusing because you're already jumping into the point. We've already had all the build up for like what a Super Saiyan is or isn't going to be, and the just
It might ruin it for you if you go
yeah,
back and watch it. You're like, why aren't they turning yellow?
yeah, because I mean, if you just watch Dragon Ball Z, I mean, the best starting point period for Dragon Ball is just if just jumping into episode 1 of Dragon Ball Z period.
Yeah.
Um, because you get all that excellent build up. They give you enough knowledge to know like what kind of Goku's backstory is and everything, and you don't the stuff from Dragon Ball doesn't really have to play that much of a part into it. And you also get the epic just like build up to like when Goku makes that transformation into a Super Saiyan for the first time, which this kind of just would take the air out of all that, I think. So maybe
Yeah.
if you are like interested in getting in Dragon Ball, don't watch this first. at the very least, watch Dragon Ball Z Kai or something first,
Yeah.
so that you know.
So that is something I want to ask you too. So you had Crunchyroll, right?
I did briefly while I was watching Daima.
Okay. So the question I have for you, I know they have Dragon Ball Z Kai on their streaming. Do they have our
Mm.
Dragon Ball Z with the American score streaming on there too, or no?
I think you do. I think there is. Um, I think Crunchyroll you can get the dubbed version and or the subbed version, whichever type of way you prefer. But you can also get the dubbed versions on some of the other streaming services. Like I want to say maybe Hulu has Dragon Ball Z Kai on it. Um,
Well, I'm trying to get Owen to watch Dragon Ball Z, not the Kai. Like,
oh
because
yeah,
I because the American score for me, the Falconer score makes it for me. Like I watch, they just have the Japanese score. I'm like, this is okay. I like the Falconer shit. So I'm trying to
let me
get it.
see.
Like if he's interested in watching it, it's like, man, I just watch Dragon Ball Z. Fuck it. Like how we absorbed it. It'll keep you entertained for a while. It's like 200 something episodes. They're only 20
Dragon,
minutes long. You know.
Dragon. Yeah, because I just pulled up Hulu. So like Hulu has Dragon Ball Z Kai, but they don't have Dragon Ball Z. But even then,
Let me.
like it, I wouldn't. I know like what you're trying to do for Owen, and I think I would suggest just watching Kai if you want to actually experience the story because you cut out. It's like when people tell me or suggest to me like, man, you should watch One Piece. It's like motherfucker, I ain't watching 1,400 episodes of an anime. Like you know what I mean? Like there has to be some reasonability here. But even then,
Oh,
it
okay.
looks like
So
Go ahead.
yeah, no, it does have. I'm trying to see here. I'm gonna see how many it goes down here. Yeah. Yeah, it does. Hold on, big boy. Uh,
Hold on, Daddy, I'm
yeah.
coming.
So Crunchyroll does have all 291 episodes of Dragon Ball Z, and you can pick the dub or the sub.
So
So
Yeah.
now I'm just
But see,
curious.
therein lies the problem, though. It's like, hey, Owen, go watch Dragon Ball Z, but there's 291 episodes
hell
of
yeah.
it.
How many episodes of Star Trek TNG are there? I watched all that once. It took me like
uh,
fucking 8 years to do it, but I got around to it.
gosh. I
Yeah,
don't
I'm just
know.
curious. I'll have to ask him. I know somebody at my work. I don't get along with him too well, but I'll ask him if he could just check on Dragon Ball Z on Crunchyroll to see if they actually have the American music with it, or is it just Japanese music? That's all I'm curious about.
Crunchy.
Um,
Crunchy.
so yeah, I mean that's it for this movie, Dragon Ball Z Legendary Super Saiyan. I know majority of this episode was setting up where we're at with these characters, what these characters are. Hopefully, I did an okay job. I feel like, I mean, someone might be listening to this and like I sound like a rambling old man, but I did the best I could. The next movie, like I said, I was telling them, Cody, that this movie came out in March 1993 in Japan, and we got it here in the States in 2003 officially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Broly Super movie, the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, came out in like December 2018. So you're looking at 25-year gap between the characters, well, between the movie, between Broly became canon.
Hmm.
Um, it's almost like Boba Fett showing up in the Mandalorian season 2, that he's canon to surviving the Sarlacc and shit like that. That we finally got that. So it's still cool. Like I said, I prefer Dragon Ball Z Broly, like the character, like his look and everything versus Dragon Ball Super Broly. They just made another Saiyan turn into a good guy when we get there. Um, but I do like the movie because it does have a lot of fan service. It shows you a lot of characters we haven't seen in a long time. That you're like, you see a bunch of characters that get added onto the story, like the Saiyans, Zarbon and Dodoria with Frieza, and then the Ginyu Force, but they never show interacting. And there's a scene where you have all of them together at once, which is kind of cool. Um, so other than that, we'll be doing Dragon Ball Super Broly, and then the next movie will be Owens. Am I right, Cody? Or is it going to be you?
Yeah, it'll be Owen movie.
Question mark?
Okay, and then it will be Cody's It Chapter 1, It Chapter 2, and then Owen again. And then I'm either going to pick Lost Boys at that point and then get to Halloween once we get into regular rotation, or get into Halloween. I don't know. I feel like, let me ask you this, like while we're on the air. So when we're doing Halloween, Cody, there's multiple timelines. Would you prefer if, let's say, we did Halloween 1 and 2, and then I did another movie as a little bit of a break, and then we got into 3, and then we did 4, 5, and 6, and did another movie as a break since that's the end of the timeline, and then 7 and 8, another movie, and then would that be better for you guys if I broke it up that way so it's not so monotonous?
I don't know if we necessarily need to break it up into timelines. I guess it's entirely up to you. We can always just break it up like we could do it like in batches of three or something too.
Yeah, I
Um,
just didn't want to bore you. I know it was a drag for Friday the 13th because it was a drag for me. I just didn't want to burn you guys out with it when we
yeah,
got
I
to
think
that
if
point.
I think if you broke it up into threes though with Halloween, it would be fine because like yeah, one and two obviously is two is a direct sequel to one and three is its own thing. So
Yeah,
I think
and
and
four.
three is like really different enough. So it's not really gonna feel like you're watching a Halloween
Yeah,
movie.
so maybe after Halloween 6, I can do a movie in between because 4, 5, and 6 are a sequel to 1 and 2, and then
Yeah,
7 and 8 are a sequel to 1 and 2, and then 2018 kills and ends, which we won't have to cover for those two. We'll just have to cover 2018.
right,
2018 is a sequel to 1. So
right.
that's where it kind of jumps around and shit like that. I was just curious. All right. Well, everyone, thank you for listening so far, this far into the episode. Young Kazi, Alex, appreciate you guys. If you're out there, listen, share, subscribe to the episode. We're Filmoscopy Podcast. Put us in your Google machine. We'll be in YouTube. We're on Twitter. We're on Spotify. But anyway, thank you for listening. And as always, finish him.
Off.